Now let's find the sums of, well, let's find a few sums. What is u plus v? Well, u is the vector with components 0.43, v is the vector with components 3, 3. So u plus v is the vector 0.43 added to the vector 3, 3. Now the vector 0.43 is the vector that moves things 0.4 units in the x direction, 3 units in the y direction. The vector 3, 3 moves you 3 units in the x direction, 3 units in the y direction. So the vector u plus v, if you depict it, here's u, and here's v. Okay, u moves you 0.4 units in this direction, so you could actually draw this little triangle. You have 0.4 units down here, and you have 3 units here. V moves you 3 units and 3 units. Now if you go from here to here, of course that's your vector u plus v. And what does u plus v do? Well, it moves you this far in the x direction and this far in the y direction. How far are you moved in the x direction? Well, you moved 0.4 units by the u vector, and you moved another 3 units by the v vector. So this distance is 0.4 plus 3, the whole distance, and the distance here is 3 plus 3. So this is 3.4 units, this is 6 units. So that the u plus v vector moves us 3.4 units in the x direction, 6 units in the y direction. Well, now we got that just from the picture. Okay, the only things we added were the things we knew we had to add. If we go this far in the x direction and that far in the x direction, we got to add those two displacements. If we go this far in the y direction and this far in the y direction, well, we got to add those to get the total that we go in the x direction and the total that we go in the y direction. Well, the calculation is really simple. We just look at these things and we say, well, we know that's how far we go in the x direction from the u vector, and the v vector takes us this far in the x direction, so they take us this plus this, or 3.4 units in the x direction. And in the y direction we go 3 units due to u, 3 units because of v, which is a total of 6 units. So this is our vector u plus v. And now we can say that u plus v is the vector that displaces us 3.4 units in the x direction, 6 units in the y direction. What about the vector 3v? Well, we could depict it. We draw the vector v, and then we draw the vector v, and we draw the vector v head to tail. Okay, this takes us 3 units in the x direction, 3 in the y direction. This takes us 3 units in the x direction, 3 in the y direction, and this 3 units in the x direction and 3 units in the y direction. So, well, okay, that's 3 times the vector 3, 3. I would pick 3 here. Should have picked a different number. There are too many 3's, but you still get the idea. Okay, and of course that means I go 3 units, 3 units, and 3 units, 3 units 3 times. That's going to be 9 units. That's what this represents. This is why we multiply this 3 by this 3. And how many units do we go in the y direction? Well, 3 units for each one. That's going to be 9. So when we multiply a vector by a number, if the vector has this meaning, this is always going to be the case. We're always going to distribute this number essentially through all the components of the vector. Okay, well then just computationally, 3.2u plus 2.7v. You could draw this out, and I recommend that you do. and that's 3.7 times the u vector, which is 0.43, plus 2.7 times the w vector, which is 0.7, 1.5. Now I've left myself with some multiplications to screw up, but I'll try not to. 0.4 times 3 is 1.2, 0.4 times 2, 0.2 is 0.08, so I think we have here, actually it's not 1.2, it's 12.8, okay? No, I was right the first time, it's 1.28. I don't know what I was thinking when I did the 12. And 3.2 times 3 is 9.6 if I do my arithmetic correctly. And check me on that because I do make mistakes. And 0.7 times 2.7, 0.7 times 3 would be 2.1. You have to subtract 0.21, which gives you, I believe, 1.89, and that checks out. So I think that's 1.89. And 1.5 times 2.7, half of 2.7 is 1.45. You add that, you get 4.15. Again, I'm really doing this arithmetic. I haven't done it previously, so be sure you check it out. Okay, then 1.28 plus 1.89. Well, 1.28 plus 2 is 3.28. This is 0.11 less than that, so that gives me 3.17, if I'm remembering all my numbers correctly. And let's see, this is 9.6 and 4.15. 9.6 and 4 is 13.6. Add 0.15, we get 13.75. So if I've done my arithmetic correctly, this is what we have. Okay? And we see that neither u nor w has a very big x component, so we don't get a very big number here, but u especially has a much bigger y component, and w has a little bit of a y component, so it makes sense that we get a number that's bigger here than here. We can also draw this. 3.2u, well, I'm going to say this vector, well, no, u's a little steeper than that. This vector is in the direction of u and about 3 times as long. So if this is 3u, and then we do 2.7w, well, it's going to be 2.7 times as long as that vector, maybe like this, and I'm not doing a very good job of getting the relative lengths or anything. So here would be the vector. (3u) plus 2.7w.